Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about the narcissist passive aggressive behaviour, as not all narcissists are grandiose, in your face, overt, obvious when it comes to their treatment of other people, and even those who are grandiose and overt, with all the manipulative techniques that they use that we're not aware of, it's difficult to spot. With passive aggressive behaviour, it's even harder to recognise, as it's done so covertly, it's done so hiddenly, and we can mistake it as normal behaviour, not realising that they are trying to manipulate us, they're trying to deceive us, they're trying to exploit us in some way. So this video is to describe the different methods narcissists use as passive aggressive behaviour to get their own needs met. I'm Elizabeth Shaw. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more information of the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. Passive aggressive behaviours are those behaviours that involve acting aggressively in a subtle way, rather than the obvious aggression when someone would rage at you, shout at you, lash out at you, put you down, tell you you've done something wrong, cause absolute chaos and drama in an obvious way. But still, with a narcissist, they'll twist it round and blame you somehow for them raging at you. With passive aggressive, it's a lot quieter, a lot more subtle, and the narcissist has very good ways to explain their rather unreasonable behaviour away. Passive aggressive behaviour is a resistance to communicate with others in the right way. This is where they're going to avoid things by procrastinating, by falling silent, by sulking, by neglecting those around them, by acting stubborn, by sulking. Passive aggressive behaviour, people can procrastinate, people can sulk, people can fall silent, which is why when a narcissist does it, we can give them the benefit of the doubt. However, with a narcissist, it is a pattern of behaviour where they are going to resist doing things that they promised to do for other people. So if somebody hurts us in some way, people can fall silent. They cannot quite know what to say. Their feelings have been hurt and they're not sure of how to best communicate with another person. They might not want to offend the other person by saying what's been done. They might not want to open up their insecurities to that other person. They might fall silent. However, it's not to manipulate the other person into doing what they want. It's because their feelings have been hurt. With a narcissist, they fall silent. Yes, usually their feelings have been hurt in some way, but their feelings have been hurt due to their sense of entitlement. So if someone's asking them to do something that they promised to do, but they promised to do it in that moment of time to get their needs met, and now they no longer want to do it because they've got their needs met, they're going to fall silent. If somebody says no to them, they're going to fall silent. They're doing it to break down people's boundaries, to break down people's self-esteem, to break down people's standards so that the narcissist can get their own way. It's the intent behind the behaviour. Most people don't willingly fall silent in order to get someone to chase them. A narcissist falls silent to get someone to chase them. often because most people can fall silent is why we can excuse a narcissist silences and start to question what we've done and start to try and figure out what we've done, when the simple answer is, if they fall silent and we know we haven't done anything, then that's up to them to be silent. It's not up to us to try and work out what we have done to them, because more often than not, you haven't done anything to them. The narcissist perceives that they're not getting their own way, that they believe they're entitled to. Therefore, they're going to do all the manipulative techniques they've learned to get their own way. So when it comes to a narcissist, all narcissists do try to sabotage people, and many do it in an underhand way. With passive aggressive behaviour, they are going to purposefully undermine you. They're going to purposefully undermine the things that you do. They're going to purposefully undermine your friendships. They're going to overspend and then blame you for it. If you're going for that important job interview, they might hide your car keys. They might cause that argument. They will do something to sabotage it, to make you run late. For example, if you've misplaced your car keys, they'll be already and out of that door. They'll not be willing to help you look for them. They'll just blame you and leave you to it. So they haven't kicked up a fuss, they haven't caused an argument, but they're not willing to help you. They're going to sabotage you any way they can. They might deliberately disclose personal information about you to other people. However, they might do it in a way and in front of you that doesn't seem that bad to those around you, but it embarrasses you, it humiliates you, it makes you question who you are as a person. And if you go and ask the narcissist why they have done this, they will just come at you with the gaslighting phrases of don't be so insecure, don't be so sensitive, to cover their passive aggressive behaviour. Resistance to communication, so those silent treatments, those sulking, the procrastination, the stubbornness. And we can class it as people just not conforming to societal demands. However, a narcissist isn't doing it for that reason. A narcissist is doing it because they believe they are superior to others, and if they think something's beneath them, they don't see a reason to do it. They think that you should just get on with it. If a special occasion isn't about them, they're going to sulk to bring the attention back onto them. They're not sulking because their feelings have been hurt in a way who someone's feelings have been hurt because a narcissist has hurt their feelings. So if you're getting ready to go to that special occasion and the narcissist is, you're having a nice soak in the bath and the narcissist is coming in and throwing cold water on you to upset you and then tell you you're being too sensitive and that they're only joking, to cause that conflict, to cause that chaos, to get you to a point where you daren't speak up for fear of reactions if you do. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because you either allow them to treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated, or you speak up and they cause that atmosphere within the house, and then they sulk over the things that they actually caused, when in reality they're the one that's upsetting you. So if anybody should be sulking, it should be you. However, you're trying to work around everything to make it work with the very person who's causing the issue, and then sulking about the issue to get their own needs met. Narcissists will do all they can to upset another person and then play the victim. Whereas you might go in and throw cold water over somebody in a bath and class it as a joke. And if the person in the bath finds it funny, and if you're happy to let that person do it to you, it's a two-way street and it's a bit of fun and it's a giggle. However, If you was to do it to somebody and they didn't like it, you wouldn't repeat it. You wouldn't sulk about it. You'd accept that that's who they are as a person. Or if you wouldn't like it done to yourself, you wouldn't do it to other people. A narcissist is a self-entitled hypocrite. It's one rule for them and another rule for you. Whatever they do is all about getting their own needs met. And as they're sulking, we don't class it as passive-aggressive behaviour, because people can sulk for very, very valid reasons. With a narcissist, what we miss is they set the environment, they start the situation off, they cause an issue, they blame us for the issue they've caused, and then they sulk about the issue they've caused and expect us to make it up to them. Stalling. There's many ways a narcissist will stall. They can promise things in the future to get their needs met in the present, that's future faking, and they will future fake. They will mirror you. They will ask you everything that you would like out of life, and then they will sell themselves to you as though they want those same things. However, when these things come, as the narcissist doesn't genuinely want them, they were just using them to exploit something from you at the present time, they're going to stall you. Next year, when I've earned enough money. Next year, when we've done this. When we've done that, we will do this. They're going to stall and stall and stall and avoid doing the very things that they promise to do for you or promise to do with you. They might be extremely forgetful. You might ask them to pick something up on the way home from work, and instead of accusing you of being lazy, the obvious way, saying you're too lazy, why can't you do it, and getting you to blame yourself and doubt yourself in the overt way, they're going to agree and say, yes, I'll pick that up for you. And then they're going to get in and, did you pick it up? Pick what up? I don't think you asked me to pick anything up. Or it'll be, oh, I'm ever so sorry, I forgot. Maybe you can remind me next time. So again, they simply don't want to do it. They think the task is beneath them. They're not going to do it, but they're not going to say no, or they're not going to admit why they haven't. They're just going to let you down time and time again until you no longer ask them, because they raise your expectations of them when you meet them, and then they lower your standards. So you no longer ask them because you know it's not going to be done. And they in turn have to do very little to please others. However, they promise people the world to exploit others. The stalling is those where they're forever making excuses for their inexcusable behaviour, yet they make them sound so reasonable. When we're in the situation, when we take a step back from the situation, we can see how unreasonable they're being. However, they often blame us for being the unreasonable one, so they gaslight us into not seeing what the narcissist is actually doing. That stalling is all those broken promises, and it is that repeat pattern of behaviour. People can break a promise, however, they would recognise what they've done. With a narcissist, they're not going to recognise what they've done, and as they're not going to recognise what they've done, they're not going to change their behaviour. Blame shifting. Blame shifting is a passive aggressive behaviour, as they're not willing to admit any fault or any wrongdoing for their own behaviour. They're going to say things like, well, if you'd have reminded me, I wouldn't have forgotten. If you hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have done this. Anything to avoid taking responsibility for their own behaviour. However, they're doing it in a way to get you to question yourself and not question their neglect. They will take you off the original topic and bring it about something that you've done to escape talking about what they've done. They will deny what they've done and accuse you of doing something you haven't done. They will gaslight you. With blame shifting, they'll even use guilt tripping to get you to feel bad and work harder to please them. Hostility, which is what I mentioned at the beginning of the video with those silent treatments and those sulks. As people can fall silent, as people can sulk because their feelings have been hurt, we can accept a narcissist doing this as normal behaviour, not realising it's not normal. Again, it's the intent behind the actual behaviour. So when somebody hurts another person and they feel crushed and they're unable to speak, they would still at some point be willing to communicate with that person and to have a two-way conversation about what's actually happening. And most often they'll still blame themselves in some way. They won't force all the responsibility onto the other person. With a narcissist, simply because they didn't get their own way or they didn't get the attention they believe they're entitled to, they can just fall silent or sulk. Then they will blame everything on the other person and they will expect the other person to make it up to the narcissist. Humour, sarcasm. When a narcissist comes at you with, I was only joking, why can't you take a joke? When someone humiliates you, blames you, shames you, hurts you, abuses you, guilt trips you, and then says, I was only joking, they weren't only joking. They want you to focus on your reactions to their behaviour to distract you from their actions. Their sarcasm is passive-aggressive behaviour. We can accept sarcasm because people are sarcastic. People do make jokes and it's good to be sarcastic at times. We need humour in life. We need laughter in life. However, if both parties aren't understanding the joke, it's not a joke. If someone is purposefully hurting somebody and they're not recognising they've hurt that person and repeatedly hurting them, it's a pattern of behaviour of who that person is. Their sarcasm isn't to have a joke or have a laugh. Their sarcasm is to hurt people, to bring people down. If somebody is willing to hurt you and then deny they've hurt you or claim that they were only joking, listen closely, as they will do it again because they don't recognise an issue with their behaviour in the first place. And we do make excuses for them because yes, we can be sensitive. People can joke around. However, you've got to recognise who you are as a person. If you would be sarcastic with somebody, knowing that they can take a joke and you can all laugh about it, and again, if they do it to you, you can take the joke, all is well and good. With a narcissist, again, it's that self-entitled hypocrite. They can humiliate, shame, blame, criticise, judge you and then tell you that they're only joking. And when you're upset or hurt, they're not going to be interested. When you fall silent because they've hurt your feelings, they're going to be twisting it all around onto why it's your fault and not theirs. However, if you do it back to them, they're going to throw a major tantrum. They're going to fall silent. They're going to sulk. So it's not a case of, it's that double standards where they're allowed to do it to you, but you're not allowed to do it to them. And when it comes to jokes, you've got to be able to have that mutual understanding of each other and what each other is willing to and to not accept from each other. With a narcissist, they're not willing to understand where you're coming from. They're only willing to ever understand where they're coming from and get their own needs met. quite often that very joke they play on you, that they're claiming you should take as a joke, they will not be happy if someone was to do it to them. If they play a joke on you and you play the same joke on them and they don't mind, then that's who they are as a person. However, people who have compassion would understand that you don't like that joke and you wouldn't do it to another person, therefore they're not going to do it with you. They'll find like-minded people. It's about understanding the individual that you're actually dealing with and how they feel about given situations. A narcissist isn't willing to understand how other people feel. The verbal abuse, where they are going to speak negatively of people, they're going to speak negatively of you to people, and they're going to speak negatively of people to you. They're going to gossip about people. They're going to put people down. They're going to speak to people like they are children, because that's the way a narcissist communicates to other people. A narcissist feels a need to pull others down to feel better about themselves. They want to draw on other people's insecurities to make other people feel inadequate so that the narcissist can feel superior. By being judgmental of others, by criticising others, by finding fault within others, they feel better about themselves. By sabotaging other people's careers, by sabotaging other people's happiness, they feel better within themselves because they're not willing to work hard to achieve for themselves. It is that repeat pattern of behaviour with a narcissist. When you explain to someone how your feelings have been hurt and they use that against you, that person does not care for you. So how you cope if you are around a passive aggressive person is first recognise their behaviour. If you know you haven't done anything, recognise who they are as a person, what they are doing, and the fact that it says more about them than it ever will you. If they're sulking, if they're being neglectful, if they're complaining often, if they're giving you those backhanded compliments, if they're humiliating you, if they're gossiping about other people, if they're refusing to communicate with you, falling silent on you, if they're procrastinating, that is on them. We can all help people. However, people don't want our help. We have to leave them to it. People have to be willing and able to help themselves. So watch for the pattern of behaviour, because yes, everybody can do these kinds of things, or should I say most people can do these kinds of things. Is it a repeat pattern of behaviour, and what is the main reason behind their behaviour? Is it to get their own needs met? If it's to get their own needs met, you need to step away from that person. Is it because they're struggling with issues and they're trying different methods to work through it? Are they willing to communicate with you? Are they willing to work through it? Are they willing to work at it? Then it's a person just dealing with life issues that you just need to be on guard of your emotions and not get too drawn into the situation. Those unwilling to recognise the wrongdoings in their own behaviour, you need to step away from, because we're not here to teach people how they should and should not behave via our words. We are here to say, that's fine, that's who you want to be, I'm going this way. And just our no contact isn't silent treatment. Our no contact is to allow them to go and live their life while we go and live ours. When someone is acting in a passive aggressive way towards you, try to keep your emotions in check. Try to listen to what your emotions are telling you. If you're starting to feel upset, try and do something that will bring you joy. If you're starting to feel anger, recognise that anger, recognise that that person most likely wants your reaction so that they can use your reaction against you. Go and find something else to do, even if that's to start up boxing classes or anything to release the anger in a healthy way. Hitting the gym, going for a run, putting on some upbeat music, journaling, finding something to release your frustration in a healthy way so they can't use your reaction against you. Self-awareness of your own passive-aggressive behaviours and the reason why you might do them, if you do act passive-aggressive, as well as the awareness of the passive-aggressive behaviours of those around you. Again, it's all in the intent. With good intentions, there is no wrong way or right way to live your life. There is only your way. Because a lot of the time, after we have been around a narcissist, we can begin to isolate ourselves. We can find ourselves acting in ways that the narcissist acts and start to question whether we are indeed a narcissist. If you have empathy to care for others, if you don't exploit other people, if you don't feel entitled to have everything your own way, your passive-aggressive behaviours are coming from a source of pain that another person has caused you, that unfortunately you are responsible for healing. You are never responsible for their mistreatment of you. However, you are responsible for your healing. As a narcissist never accepts responsibility, they will continue to go around hurting other people. If you don't heal yourself, you will often continue to go around hurting yourself. As you have empathy, you wouldn't go around using passive-aggressive behaviours to hurt other people. Things like after a relationship with a narcissist, people can go one or two ways. They can go many different ways, but just for example's sake, people can get overactive. They can juggle too many plates to try and keep busy, to try and keep their mind occupied, and people can go into procrastination. Doesn't make them a narcissist. It just makes them somebody who is working through some things in life. To be a narcissist, people need at least 5 of the 9 characteristics. I'll link this video in here. Then they would need that pattern of behaviour on a continued basis. If anyone has any passive-aggressive behaviours they witnessed from a narcissist that I've missed out of the video, please do add that into the comments. If anyone has any advice of what helped them deal with somebody who was acting passive-aggressive, or what helped them kickstart and motivate themselves back into recovery, please do also add that into the comments, as you never know who's reading that it might help. I shall add in the video description the video for limiting beliefs, as often a narcissist has caused that much self-doubt within us. That's why we can end up procrastinating. That's why we can end up falling silent, because we're too busy questioning ourselves, whereas a narcissist will be questioning everybody else. Thank you very much for listening, and go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.